All right, y'all, we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. Gonna see if it has BSS with its main Google search. So we're back here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More about that, pinned video, pinned post, somewhere around here. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our white FSIC graph here down below. On the left side, we get the highest intent peeps, people searching, for boudoir photography, shoot in their city right now. They're searching on Google, they're searching on social media. We care about getting in front of these peeps, so we're talking about BSS here in all these videos. And over on the right, we got the lowest intent peeps. Talk about those, our sister channel with the YFB ad doctor. We're talking about BLCS, and we're currently over there only working with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand per month in boudoir Facebook ads. Now, BSS, boudoir search sameness, that's when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots page 1 on Google. 0 slots is terrible. That means we're on page 2 or deeper, and we already have the data. We already know. Approximately 80% of Google searches never, ever even hit page 2. They're page 1 and done searches. So if we're got 0 slots page 1, we're visible to approximately 80% of the market, aka the bulk of the market. If we go 1 slot on page 1, that's not good either. Everyone else on page 1 to get at least 1 slot as well. So we're blending in, we're invisible. And guess what? Guess what a boudoir buyer is going to do? They're going to be clicking, everyone's link going down. Well, at least approximately 80% of the buyers will be doing that, clicking everyone's link going down, stay on page 1 only. So we're only going to be compared to the peeps on page 1. They're going to be filling out everyone's contact form, getting pricing, comparing pricing, blah, 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 blah. Destroying our margins, negotiating, wasting our time. We're probably only going to get like 10% of contact form fill outs to, convert with us. And 0-1 slots on page 1 Google is actually not normal. It's a symptom of 2 deeper root causes. So it's common, it's accepted, but to have such a few number of page 1 links, it's not normal. Those 2 deeper root causes are 1, market saturation, and 2, the false belief of page 1 equality. Market saturation, basically everyone knows about this. People get new gear, new iPhone, new camera, and then they're posting on, posting up their Google My Business profile, saying they now shoot boudoir. They got their website saying they're now boudoir photographer. They're posting the mom groups, saying they now shoot boudoir photo shoots. And so it's, more boudoir photographers, more sellers for the same number of buyers, which means prices come down across the board, makes it harder for every other boudoir photographer to operate. Now, second, the false belief of page 1 equality. This is a new one. Most boudoir photographers don't even know about this one, but this is kind of the automatic acceptance or belief that, a boudoir photographer with their website, gets at least 0 or, gets 0 or 1 slots page 1 on Google. And that's kind of basically auto accepted, the same for everyone. And so if someone was, page 1 slot 10, then some market saturation happened and they went down to, page 2 slot 2. And it's like, oh, well, that's the game, that's how it is. And they're thinking, okay, hopefully Google, hopefully those people delete their websites and Google de-indexes them. So maybe Google will bring us back up onto page 1. But this is 100% the wrong mindset, the incorrect mindset, because what we have learned through testing is that Google will actually give us as many page 1 slots as possible as we want to put in the effort to acquire. And I know this because I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search in only 10 days using this new methodology we discovered. Now, yeah, so that's false belief page 1 equality. This is actually the #1 killer of boudoir photography businesses because it kind of resigns the boudoir photographer to take no action because people didn't know they can take as many page 1 slots in Google as they wanted. We also know that boudoir photographer with BSS, boudoir search sameness, is a disappearing boudoir photographer, a DBP. So remember, BSS, boudoir search sameness, having 0, 1 slots page 1 on Google. So if a boudoir photographer has BSS, they got 0, 1 slots page 1 on Google, that means they're disappearing fast if they're page 2 or deeper, or they're disappearing slowly if they do got 1 slot on page 1 because they're still essentially invisible, not standing out at all. And if they're a disappearing boudoir photographer, that's the the warning light, the red flag, the flashing warning, the canary in the coal mine telling them, hey, your boudoir photography business itself is on the path to disappearing here. But thankfully, we now have a solution because we have discovered that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S cubed methodology. And we know this because we discovered this. This is exactly what I used to go from 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google in only 10 days. And it works exactly as the name says, social search saturation. We saturate social search with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords, so we show up there when peeps search those on social media. And it serves two functions. Second function is kind of, it's acting like snow up at the top of the Andes Mountains down there in South America on the eastern side, the backside of those mountains. When that snow melts, which is melting all the time, the water drains into, melts into small streams, small rivers, and eventually it all collects into the large Amazon River. The large Amazon River is Google page one search, but it all flows, it all starts with the inputs of SQ methodology, saturating social search to enable us to saturate Google page one search. An interesting thing about SQ methodology is the only solution I've seen for boudoir photographers that can enable a boudoir photography business to actually still grow in the face of growing and increasing market saturation over time, and give them this opportunity in a relatively quick time frame. The only other option for this would be kind of get this benefit would be to have a large, well-known brand to fight back against market saturation, but that doesn't satisfy the relatively quickly criteria because having a well-known brand, dude, that takes like 5 to 10 years. We ain't got 5 to 10 years, dude. AI's here taking people's jobs. We don't have the time anymore. We need, a chance at much faster results. And actually, with my estimates, SQ methodology can speed up actually creating a large, well-known brand by approximately 8x faster than all the normal methods because we're actually going to be seeing way more higher volume across many more surfaces and in many more searches. So that's where the approximately 8x faster estimate comes from. All right, so now an example of SQ methodology. Right now, I'm deciding that we're going to Dallas, Texas, and there are 1 million boudoir photographers there. And we are one of them. Everyone has a boudoir photography website. And as a result, everyone's trying to super competitive, rank page one on Google, ultra competitive. We're realizing like, man, we ain't got no large, well-known brand. So, our only solution to compete here is to, crank up S cubed methodology to the max. And so we do that, and we literally get shown on the first 300 slots social search for highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in our city. Those flow onto Google. Let's say we also get, first 300 slots page one, or first 300 slots Google search, and it's 10 organic slots per page Google search. So we're taking out basically the first 30 pages. And so basically anywhere boudoir buyer looks, they got to scroll like, basically 301 slots to find basically find over our competitors, and that'd be, page 31 on Google. And as a result, since we're basically the only they can find, then whose business is growing in this scenario? Most likely ours. Whose businesses are, slowing down, disappearing, going extinct? Most likely our 999,999 boudoir photographer competitor businesses. And so this is kind of a, extreme example of what SQ methodology could enable at like the most extreme end for a boudoir photography business. Now, once you're with SQ methodology, we have page one visibility. Initial benefit, yeah, we get more slots page one Google search, and every time we get a new page one Google search, we get the second benefit is we're kicking competing boudoir photographers off page one, effectively making them invisible. So actually, through our effort, we can decide how many of our competitors in our area, in our city, are relegated to page two or deeper. And since we know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page two, effectively make them invisible to the approximately 80% of the marketplace, so the bulk of the marketplace, and put their business on the path to disappearing. Now, page one visibility activates Boudoir search visibility for us. This is where the GBC universe actually recommends having a minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page one Google search. That's a minimum, not a maximum. That's because basically everyone else on page one Google search will have 1 slot. So if we got 3, we're dominating them right away. And the ultra rare case, someone has 2 slots, well, our 3 slots is dominating them as well. So we want to hit 3 out of 10 minimum for all the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords. We also know that boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So we got our micro universe here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness has 0, 1 slots page one Google search. This is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. That's fine. We now have the solution S-cubed methodology. We achieve page one visibility. We become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. All right, y'all. Now my results utilizing this technology. So I want to dominate page one Google search for this keyword, BLCS boudoir. And so I went to work purely using S-cube methodology and let's see my results. Got organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So in 10 days, I went from 0 out of 10 slots page one Google search to 9 out of 10 slots page one Google search, purely utilizing S-cubed methodology. Now we're going to check out, we're going to see if this boudoir photography business has BSS, kind of the basis for all this stuff. So let's see. So we're going to do a search, boudoir photography Las Vegas. All right. All right, so we got boudoir photographer Las Vegas, Nevada. So let's see. Nope, 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 nope. Oh, there we go. All right, we got 1. 1 out of 10. Nice. All right. We got 1 out of 10. So we do have BSS, boudoir search sameness, because we got 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google search for high intent keywords here. And ideally, we would want to get to our GBC minimum of 3 out of 10, because then we can basically guarantee we're not a disappearing boudoir photographer. At minimum, we're treading water, or we could actually be growing. So we do want to get to 3 out of 10. So if you are a disappearing boudoir photographer, you've got BSS, you did your local search and your city search, and you saw, you only got either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google, and or you have not hit the GBC minimum, recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1. And you understand the page 1 equality belief, and now you're like, oh yeah, obviously that's false, when we didn't really even think about it before, because now we see how I got 9 out of 10 on page 1 of Google organic search results. And you understand the market saturation, yeah. New iPhones, new boudoir photographers, new camera, new boudoir photographers. But you're also seeing AI take more and more people's jobs, and you're like, okay, like COVID brought in a flood of boudoir photographers. AI is taking more people's jobs, probably going to bring in a flood of boudoir photographers as well. So you want to prepare for the influx of supply of sellers by kind of fortifying your page 1 Google presence. So essentially never allow those people joining to show up page 1 on Google. And you see S-cubed methodology, and you're like, yes, finally, I've been waiting for something like this. So you want to use S-cubed methodology to achieve page 1 visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer, achieve boudoir search visibility. And also you want the back-end bonuses of using S-cubed methodology as well, which we haven't talked about yet, we'll talk about now, which is we're basically building thematic keyword columns via social and on Google that are kind of columns plugged into our brand, our basically the name of our business, our social handles. And those thematic keyword columns, guess what? They increase the probability we show up here in the AI overview. They increase the probability we show up in AI search like ChatGPT search, Claude search, Perplexity search, Microsoft Copilot search, Google Gemini search. Increase in the probability there. And last time I did ChatGPT search for boudoir photographers in the city, recommended me, it only gave me 3. And AI search is increasing every single day. More and more people use an AI search every single day. Still, Google's about 90% search volume. But we're kind of pre-positioning ourselves AI search, which SCube methodology helps with. And kind of once we build this kind of back-end invisible momentum, these thematic keyword columns that plug into all these, basically prevent people ranking on page 1 against us and build up our keep building up and increase our probability of showing up across all these AI searches. And you decide you want to be a first mover because this has got to get done. Start building up this momentum because again, ads momentum goes to 0 when you stop spending. This momentum will continue ongoing. Basically, these have momentum, not infinite momentum, but you decide you want to start the momentum, then keep growing the momentum, actually dominate page 1. And you also see that the further you put yourself ahead of the competition now, when AI starts basically kind of forcing people to become boudoir photographers, you'll be well positioned to be unaffected by it because you've already built up page 1 domination, which is like, dude, that's like 7 out of 10 slots or more. Page 1 Google, 8 out of 10 slots or more. And being recommended AI search, putting distance between you and everyone else. And you want to basically guarantee that you put so much distance, nobody can catch up. Instead of a competitor working with me, where plan right now is to only work with 1 person per city. Instead of a competitor getting all these kind of momentum bonuses and page 1 slots where then you would have to actually, if I were to continue work with them, you would have to rederive the S-cubed methodology on your own, figure out how to actually get it to work. And then you will never actually know if you're doing it correctly, how we've done it. And then kind of, you'd have to equal our output to maintain the distance kind of behind your competitor that I could be working with. And you'd have to kind of double our output to actually make up that lost ground and build back up the momentum and take it from us. So you've decided, well, it's better to simply become the first mover here. So we get all the benefits, none of the drawbacks. So if you want all these benefits, shoot me a DM when I open for new patient intake. I'm not currently open for new patient intake, so even if you want to work with me, you cannot. But when I do open up the hospital for new patient intake, shoot me a DM and we will see if you qualify.